Welcome to the CEO Shift with your host, Shondell Spader, owner and CEO of Spader Group. In this series, you'll hear fast, focused conversations with business leaders and experts who've made the real shift it takes to scale past the plateau. Each episode delivers high-impact insights designed to help you cut through the noise, make smarter decisions, and lead with clarity.
Welcome to the CEO Shift. I have Paul Dorsey with us here today. And Paul ran an independent RIA investment management business for 20 years before being acquired by a mega-RIA in 2021. And I would love, Paul, for you to go ahead and share your story, introduce yourself further, and tell us a bit about your background.
Thank you, Shondell. I grew up in Delaware. I've been here all my life, and you may know Delaware is one of the smaller states. When you live in a small state, you get to know a lot of people. There's about 1 degree of separation here. Went to school in Delaware and then ended up in the Navy after receiving an ROTC scholarship. And when I came back, I decided I wanted to be a financial advisor. And I failed miserably because I was too young. I didn't have any gray hair, and nobody wanted to take professional advice from somebody who looked like they'd just gone through puberty at 24. So I ended up getting a job in the industry at a trust company and learning the fundamentals of the investment management business and the trust industry. And after working there for 10 years, I watched the people who were really successful at what they did, the financial advisors that were successful. And what I learned was there's all kinds of people in this business. There's the people that are worried about themselves, worried about what commissions they're going to earn, how they're going to get paid. And then there's the people that didn't talk about that at all. They were the people that took care of their customers and really took care of their customers, and that was their focus. And they seemed to be the most successful. And as I watched, I said, well, maybe if I can do it the way I feel comfortable doing it, working with clients, and the way I've seen these few people become very successful, if I take care of the clients, maybe the money will follow. And it was a big risk, but I tried it 10 years later after I failed, maybe 11 years. Started with one customer, helping him save $25 a month for his kids' college. His wife told somebody else about me. They told 3 people about me. And next thing I know, I was managing $1 million. $1 million turned into 10 million. And then over the years, that turned into hundreds of millions of dollars, and about 400 families that we work with.
That's incredible. That's a lot of lives changed and a lot of good put out there, Paul.
Thank you.
So I don't know, is it secret sauce, or are you willing to share? Like, I know focusing on the customer, focusing on, their needs, of course, from the conversations we've had, right? Like that was the main focus, but was there one specific thing that you did differently that stood out from every other advisor?
I wouldn't say I did it differently. I remember when I was working at the trust company, I ran into an older woman. When I called her up, I thought I dialed the wrong number because it sounded like it was somebody at a nursing home waiting for a ride down to the cafeteria, or a wheelchair down to the cafeteria. But as I talked to her, I realized how successful she was. She had over 50 trusts with our trust company, and that's a lot of trusts if you're a financial advisor to have, as well as your other clients. And I convinced my boss to let me go down and see her because she was such a big customer of our trust company. Her clients were, and she had all her clients invested in one mutual fund, which didn't seem right to me at all. And when I got down there, as I approached her building, it was a strip center, and there was a golf cart repair kit or company there. There was a liquor store and a place where you paid your water bill. And down at the end, there was blue writing on the wall, like it was a going out of business sale, almost like poster paint. And I thought I was at the wrong spot until I saw discount stocks, bonds, and mutual funds on the window. And it must have been the right place. And as I went in, barely an introduction, she said, "Sit down. We got to go through these accounts." And when I looked at the first account, she said, "Paul, did you see that that yellow church on the way in, that steeple, this lady paid for the steeple. And as she was getting sick, she put the money in trust to take care of her kids' college. And after they're done college, grandkids' college, that money's going back to the church to pay for the pews. Second account, this woman here is in a nursing home. And thank God her husband set up the trust for her, because when he was out riding his bike 2 years ago, he got hit by a car. And now it's my job to make sure that this woman is taken care of for the rest of her life. And when something happens to her, the money will go to her grandkids. It took us the whole afternoon to go through these accounts, not because there were so many accounts, but because she had a personal relationship with every one of those customers. And you could really hear it in her voice. And that was the moment that changed me, because when I was starting out 10 years before that and I failed, I wasn't able to have a conversation with people like I'm having with you. I always felt like when I got in front of somebody, I had to put on a different personality and be in the sales mode. And now when I watch people that do that, and you can almost smell it on people.
Yep.
I call it being pitch slapped. They're talking to you for 1 minute, just like you and I are talking, and then the next minute they switch personalities and they start telling. In my book, I use car dealers as an example. They always want to be your friend right away, and they go right into the sales pitch after they find something in common. But what I learned is, if I just take care of the customers, I don't have to try to sell them anything. Um, and my motto is to have, instead of prospecting, selling, or a closing, why don't we spend time with our customers, show empathy, and be authentic? TEA, time, empathy, authenticity, which is basically have tea with your customers. Treat them the way that you want to be treated, as if they were coming over to your house, even though you're in an office environment. And you'd be surprised how easy that works, as long as you're doing the right thing and you're always putting the customer first and yourself second. The the benefits of doing this after you have taken care of your customers is they will naturally tell people about you. So
Right.
instead of me saying, "Hey, give me a list of 5 friends," or who do you have in your family? I don't say anything. Um, and we get unsolicited referrals, because these people are confident that they have somebody, or that I'm going to take care of their sister or their aunt or their best friend.
Right. I mean, we all naturally want to work with those that we, what is it, know, like, and trust, right?
That's right.
So if we know you, we like what you've done for us, we like you as a person, we trust you, we're naturally going to talk.
Yes,
And I mean, the same as in the reverse, right? If we don't, it's just a different conversation.
that's exactly right.
Yeah.
Now, I can't say that we don't ask for referrals, but if I feel very comfortable with somebody and I've worked with them for a year or two, or they
Yeah.
start giving indications that they might know somebody, I'll just say, "Hey, look, we're not looking for anybody. We have plenty of business. But if you know somebody like yourself, we're happy to have a conversation with them, but
Right.
only if you feel comfortable inviting them." So it doesn't put them on their heels. It makes them want to give a referral. And it makes it kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Where it's not easy to get in. It's kind of like a doctor. We're only available on
Yeah.
Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, 12, 1:30, and 3. We're not.
Right. Well, I
Um,
think too, I think people don't know what they don't know. And it's intimidating. I think when you think, well, do I have enough to be able to have this conversation? Am I just going to get laughed at because maybe I'm not at this grandiose dollar amount of net value or net worth, um, at what point does it make sense? And I think there's so many unknowns in that space where people are like, I've earned a decent living. I know it could, my money could be doing more for me, but I don't know where to start. So I think having that trusted, I mean, when we first looked at, what do we want to do? How do we want to build ourselves for the future, for our kids, for, beyond us? Like I asked my mom, like, like, who do you talk to? Who do you know? Who have you, leaned on? Um, because I didn't want to just go to Google and search. So I,
yeah,
I think that, when we lead with that empathy and we lead with somebody who's going to take care of the client, the customer in front of them, that just compounds through and through.
Yeah. You're exactly right. Our industry talks about working with ultra high net worth and high net worth. And I found that I've gotten some of my largest customers from some of the smallest people. So somebody that's saving $1,000 here, or 2,000 there, or $50 a month, whatever they're saving, they're kind of like tasting the ice cream. They're taking a sample, but you don't know who they know or who their contacts are, or who their network is. And
Right.
I remember when I first started, I was working with somebody on this. I called it a case of beer a month. You save a case of beer, 25 bucks. Um, and I got a call from somebody that had $400,000. And I'm like, how'd you hear about me? And she heard about me from her niece, who was 24 years old. And then that customer led to another customer that was even
Right.
larger than that. Um,
Right.
and there's a lot of people in the industry that say, hey, we have a minimum of 100,000 or whatever, 500 or $1 million. I have a minimum that I'll talk to anybody if they want to come in and just kick the tires. And
Right.
and we also, when somebody gives a referral, we just say, have them come in and meet with us. And they're like, well, you have to call them. And I never want to call them. I said, if they don't want to call me, then I'm not sure they want to be here. And if they don't want to call me, why don't you send an email to both of us? And then I'll do an email introduction saying, hey, thanks for the intro. Come on in, kick the tires, no obligation. We're just seeing here if we can help you. And by the way, we're interviewing you to see if it's a good fit for us,
Well,
because we
so
don't
that, I
want
mean, and
any
that,
people causing problems.
well, right. And yeah, I mean, we do the same thing, right? We don't serve everybody out there who has a business, because we have to make sure that we align in values and the way we want to conduct business. And, if we have somebody here who wants to just get their accounting done for the IRS, that's great. You need to do that. That's super important. That's not who we want to work with. We want people who value the work that we put into it, the conversation pieces, the strategy, beyond the bookkeeping, the reporting. We want to dive deeper and walk alongside our CEOs and our business owners, and make sure that we're providing value in places additional to just reporting for the IRS. So I get
Yeah,
that. It's a two-way street. Like, are you a good fit for me, and am I a good fit for you?
yeah. And when you were saying about sometimes it can be intimidating, especially when you're starting out with kids,
Yeah.
working with an advisor, um, I see that all the time when it comes to our business, because it's kind of an unknown if you've never worked with us. And
Right.
one of the metaphors I use is, one night I was opening the front door just right around the corner at dusk, and a bird flew in the house because I surprised the bird and I scared him, and immediately went into the living room, went to the highest curtain rod. And so now me and the bird have the same goals, and that's to get the bird out of the house. The bird wants to be safe,
Right.
and I don't want the bird in the house. But I can't communicate that to the bird. So my mother-in-law, who was 93 at the time, she turns the light on in the stairwell, and the bird flies upstairs. So now the
Hmm.
bird is always going to the highest point and to where the light is, but I still can't communicate to get him out. But then I realized the bird understands the light. So I
Mm.
told my daughter, I said, go get a flashlight. And we went to the junk drawer trying to find a flashlight. And I come back, and daughter number two is like, Dad, you have one of those on your phone. You could have just got a flashlight on your phone.
Thanks,
So we
honey.
shut the lights out, and I'm like, shine the light down the steps. And the bird started coming down the steps, and it was split seconds. And I'm like, out the door. And my daughter turned the flashlight, and the bird flew out the door safely.
That's
And
awesome.
I
Good to
think it's a
know.
great metaphor for the service business, because if you're just starting out and you have kids, you don't know how to set up 529s, you're kind of in your own box because you got a lot going on. And somebody like me is outside. I've been through it. I've seen it. I've seen what people have gone through. So it's really easy for me to give an answer, and vice versa if you were looking at somebody else
Right.
with the experience you've had. But somebody has to show you the light, and that's not going to, I can't tell you that I can do it well. I might think I can, but if I tell you how good I am and how you're going to stay up on the curtain rod. So
Yeah.
I think that's where a middle person comes in, somebody that knows what you can do and knows that it's a good fit. And that's how good referrals happen. Somebody, and then my reputation's on the line because the person referred me, and then the new customer's reputation is on the line because they have a relationship with the person in the middle. And I think that's the best way to develop new business. Now, when I see people out in the field in marketing, a couple of people I sent an advance copy to read the book, and one guy was head of marketing for a different company, and he's like, "Well, how can you make this more growthier?" And I'm like, "That's not how it works in the service business. It's more about it just happens naturally, and then it happens in lumps. So sometimes it's not like a consistent. Hey, we got a business plan. That's what we plan on bringing in each month for the next 12 months. Somebody might retire, there might be a death in the family, and we get a really big account, and it takes a lot of work for 1 or 2 months, and then it settles down. And then springtime comes and lots of activity happens and more business comes in. And we're not out there selling it. It's just happening because people have been talking about us behind the scenes.
That's awesome. That's a great reputation to hold on to.
So I always say,
So,
make your customers your sales team. They're better than your own salespeople.
absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Paul, is there a way, first of all, you've referenced your book. If you could share a little bit about your book, I would love for our audience to know about that. I know it's newly hitting the shelves. It hit the shelves here at the end of May. Can you share a little bit about the book for us here before we wrap up?
Sure, it's called Ditch the Pitch. My brother-in-law helped come up with that title. Originally, I was calling it Pitch Left, but that wasn't very friendly, I guess. But it's really stop selling, start serving, grow referrals. And it's a short book, 90 pages, so it's easy to read. It's not one of these 300-page, 1-inch thick books that somebody throws on your desk and says, read this. Each chapter is a short story, kind of like the woman, like that story is called Sweet Virginia because her name was Ginny. And it's a short parable that helps you just have a different perspective of working with customers or bringing new customers in. And
Awesome.
my parallel is it's kind of like dating. When somebody says, "Hey, you should go out with this person," and they tell that person, you're really suspect. What does he or she look like? What's their problems? Why would I do that? But when you go on that first date where you set up that first blind date, it's all about just making a good impression on them and then building trust. And it takes time to build trust. And so the first half is about how to support your customers in a way that they want to tell people about you. And the second half of the book is about how do you start building that trust, the first date, the second date, and what are the processes that you use. It's not, it's fairly common sense, but if you haven't thought it through, this is a good way to put it all together and just have it ready for when you run into referrals.
Excellent. Well, I am looking forward to reading it. I just got my hands on a copy of it here. So I am looking forward to that. And I hope our audience go ahead and get the book downloaded or get it ordered. I believe it's Amazon, right, Paul?
It's on
Where are they
Amazon.
available?
It's on all the sites. You can find it at Walmart,
Okay.
Barnes and Nobles. It's
Awesome.
Ditch the Pitch by Paul Dorsey. There's a couple other Ditch the Pitches with different subtitles, but this one is
Okay.
90 pages and has a big green tree on the front. So
I love it. I love it. Well, awesome. Paul, thank you so much for being here with us today. I am grateful that you took the time. I have thoroughly appreciated our conversation. I love the reminders that the client is first. It is truly all about them. We have a saying or a motto here is, unless our clients are like, we only succeed if our clients succeed. I totally just botched my own motto, but um, anyway, that you get the gist, right? Like when our clients are able to be successful, have that confidence in their own financials, their own, numbers, business, bookkeeping, all of those things, like they're able to show up in a better light. And if they're not able to do that, then, we need to make sure that that's the goal. We have that common goal, like you talked about, you and the bird, right? That common goal is to get to a place where everybody is feeling like they've won. So
yeah,
I appreciate the conversation today. Thank you so much. And I look forward to continuing our conversations down the road.
absolutely. Thank you very much for the invitation.
You're welcome.
Take care.
You too.
Thanks for joining us for the CEO Shift. If today's conversations challenged your thinking or helped you see your business differently, it's time to put what you learned into action. If you want practical guidance on making better CEO-level decisions, download the CEO Decision Guide now. This framework is what leaders use to stop spinning their wheels and start scaling with clarity. Download your free copy at spadergroup.com/CEO-guide and start making decisions like a CEO today. We'll see you next time on the CEO Shift.